What are your go-to strategies for managing all that's going on in life, but also remaining flexible? This is a question that I've gotten a couple times when I've spoken at events, and I wanted to answer it for you today. You guys, I know how hard it is to juggle all the things. Being a creative entrepreneur, being a mom, being a friend, all the roles that we have to show up at, and still pouring into ourselves. Our personal and our business responsibility are a lot to juggle. Just this week alone, my daughter had a dance competition. I had family visiting, multiple doctor's appointments. My husband is traveling, so I'm managing the household as a single mom. My son has basketball playouts, and I'm launching a new challenge at the end of this month. Plus, I've been struggling with some insomnia issues. So I get it. I've been there. But the thing that keeps it all together for me is my simple productivity system, and I'm going to share that with you today. So it's super important to have a system to fall back on, to catch all those balls that we have up in the air in case one falls. You can go through life with a bit more confidence if you know you have a system in place to keep track of all of the things. And that's exactly what a productivity system should do if it's set up correctly. I've long been an advocate that everyone's brain is wired a little bit differently. A system that works for me may not be the right system that works for you, but because I get this question, Jen, how do you manage all the things and still stay flexible? I do want to answer just with how I set my simple productivity system up. And it might work for you, it might not. That's okay. That is another conversation for another day. But let's get into it. Step one for any productivity system is to capture. Our brains are for having ideas, not for holding them. That is a famous quote by productivity ninja David Allen. You might have heard it before. So how do we do this? This is how I have my capture system set up. And it's twofold. One for when I'm out and on the go, and another system for when I'm at my desk. So step one is Siri. I have an Apple phone, and if I'm out driving around, or even if I'm in the kitchen and I'm hanging out with the family and an idea pops up that I want to capture, whether it's a thought on a project or a simple to-do that I need to get done later in the week, I just say, hey Siri, remind me to call the dentist this afternoon. That's just an example. Another thing that just came up actually just this week, or just last week as a matter of fact, I was driving around and the maintenance light came on in my car, and I said, hey Siri, remind me to make an appointment with the Lexus dealership so that I could bring my car in. That's an example of, a way I would capture an idea or a task while I was driving around. Versus something at my desk, I use the Full Focus Planner. I shared this with you guys. I have a whole video on it. I'll link it down below. But this is always sitting in front of me on my desk. So if a thought pops up while I'm working at my desk, I often will just jot it down right here in my planner, and I put a little star on it. And then at the end of my week, on my weekly reviews, I actually go through all of those pages, and those ideas that I capture, I move into my task manager. So the task manager is step two. I organize all of it into a Trello board for my workflow. So this is my master task list. Okay, so let's get into it. I use Trello as my master task list. Inside of Trello, you create a board to organize your creative projects and also to keep a track of all of those ideas for you. Rather than keeping them all in the brain, you have this as like a second brain to keep track of all of your ideas. So how does Trello work? It works through a board system and a Japanese method called the Kanban using cards to organize tasks. So it has a board, and a board represents a place to keep track of information, often for large projects, teams, or workflows. Whether you're planning on launching a new website, tracking sales, or planning your next office party, Trello is an awesome place to do this. But today I'm going to focus on how I use it as a workflow. And so inside of my workflow, I have my workflow board. I have a number of different lists. So this is next layer of organization inside of Trello. So lists keeps cards or specific tasks or pieces of information organized in their various stages. And then the cards can be moved across from list to list to list as they progress from start to finish. They simply act as a place to kind of keep track of ideas and information. There's no limit to the number of lists that you can create on any board, and they can be arranged and titled however you like. So in my Trello workflow board, I have to do, doing, done. I have a someday maybe list for things that I want to do, and I don't want to lose track of that thought, but I just don't have the bandwidth to work on that task or project at this particular time. And then I also have a list for my soon-to-be intern. I used to have a virtual assistant. I'm now hiring an intern. And then I have a pending, so something that might be waiting on someone else, a piece of information or an email back. I have a list for that as well. So the card is the smallest organizational piece within the Trello application, but it's also the most detailed. Cards can use to represent a task or an idea, and you can click on the card and add a bunch more detail. They call it the back of the card. There is no limit to the number of cards that you can create. And sometimes if a task is more than just a task, it's actually a project, I will create an entirely separate board to keep track of the different stages of a project, but I will still keep a card representing that project inside of my workflow system. The next step in managing a simple productivity system is to take the time to prioritize what is on your list. So when I sit down every week to do my weekly reviews, I'm going through the cards on my to-do or doing list, and I'm sorting them by priority. So I look at what is most important to me at the moment, what are the big projects that I'm working on, or if something can be done in 2 minutes or less, I just do it and remove that card and take that task away and free up some space, both in my brain and in my workflow system. So you can actually, Trello has a really cool way that allows you to prioritize. You can add labels. So I use red, yellow, and green to labels to prioritize my tasks. So the red are the things that need to be done right away, and green, they can wait a little bit. But never have more than 3 top priorities at any one time, because then you go from the zone of productive into the zone of busy. And we really want to keep you unbusy, living the life after busy. Another great feature of the card is that you can link to all sorts of things. So say I'm working on one of my projects is to create a plan or a content calendar. I can put a link to my content calendar that I actually keep over in Google Drive. I can link directly to that so that when I'm ready to work on that project, all of the resources that I need to put that project together are linked inside that card. Plus, if you have a team, you can add different members of your team and allow them access to cards or restrict them from certain projects you don't want them working on. Very collaborative tool. Another place where tasks pile up is our email inbox. So oftentimes an email is really just a task or a project in disguise. One amazing thing I love about Trello is I can actually take an email and forward it over to my workflow board, and it creates a card from that email. So it's really simple to clear my inbox and also keep track of the projects that are piling up inside of my email box in the place where I like to keep track of them. Love Trello for that. So some benefits of creating this simple productivity system is my list doesn't get out of control because I'm touching base with it on a daily and even on a deeper level on a weekly basis. I really have a good idea of what's on my list. And if things become too much, my list doesn't keep growing and growing and growing. I either delete, delegate, or move that task over to the someday maybe list. Feels really, really good to take something off the list. Also, it's really important to reflect and see how your system is working for you. If you notice that you're getting hung up on something, think about how you can fix that problem. I know that the repetitive tasks is a feature inside of Trello that I don't really love the way it works, to be honest. So I'm still working and tweaking with that because I don't want to create a task over and over and over and over again of something I'm going to do, but I also don't want to lose track of those things that I have to do on a repetitive basis. So I'll get back to you on how I end up fixing that particular problem. So in conclusion, I love this system, the marriage of Siri, my notes in the Full Focus Planner, and transitioning all of those thoughts that I capture into my Trello simple productivity system. I hope this system works for you. And I actually share my workflow board in the Life After Busy Bootcamp. So if you guys are interested in that, I will link it down below. You can grab the template that I'm using and start using it for yourself. So once you have this system in place, I know that you're going to have more free time. So I have an entire video that I've created about finding free time and how to use it in the best way. And I will see you over there. Make it a great day.